My name is Rosalind Aben. I'm at the Institute of Development Studies now, but for many years I worked at DFID as a social development advisor. When I arrived there in the late 80s, there were just 2 social development advisors. It was quite isolating and difficult. Academics on the whole were not supportive. They kind of looked down their noses at us who were trying to bridge policy and research. Robert, on the other hand, was incredibly supportive. I used to come down to workshops at IDS that Robert organised, and I felt that I had as much voice and the right to have a view as the researchers I was associating with. And as I continued to work in DFID and tried to get social and participation issues really taken on board by the British Aid Ministry, Robert was always there, supporting, encouraging, praising, making me laugh, and really giving me confidence, to be braver than I otherwise would have been.
Hi, I'm Simon Maxwell. I was at IDS from 1981 until 1997, and then I was Director of ODI and President of the Development Studies Association. So I've worked a lot with Robert over the years. And you know what? A whole lot of his phrases have entered not just our professional vocabulary, but our domestic vocabulary. So in our house, what we say is, we've made a mistake. Good! That's one of Robert's phrases. And we say, pass the stick, because somebody else needs to speak. And we say, you have to do what makes your heart beat faster, which is another of Robert's phrases. I worked on rural development when I was here. We bought copies of Robert's first book on rural development by the truckload to give out to students, and we took students who'd come from all over the world, mid-career civil servants, off to the wilds of Wales in those days in order to do PRA with farmers and to apply those techniques. So what Robert has taught us is a new way of working.
I'm Gordon Conway, and I knew a lot about Robert's work in the 70s and 80s, but I only began to work with him in Wollo province in northern Ethiopia after the Great Famine there. And I'd been working on methodological techniques for getting farmers to talk about their lives, and he'd been working on things like semi-structured interviewing, and we suddenly realised we could put both of them together, and so we did that. And then Robert said, why do we have to do it? Why can't the farmers do it themselves? And that's what then happened. And that really was the beginning of participatory rural appraisal.
Tom Thomas from Praxis India. Robert, our Praxis's relationship and my own personal relationship with Robert goes back to at least 15 years or more, both starting from my ActionAid days when Robert was one of the board of directors of trustees of ActionAid. So if I were to think of one most important thing that Robert has contributed in many ways is this whole question of not just the importance of participation, but the whole question of what next after participation. I think even though he probably hasn't written so much about it or doesn't say it in so many ways, but I think he prompts you to think about your own power relationship that you exercise in those contexts. And I think the next step of participation is to be able to, as someone today was talking about, patrolling the boundaries of participation, to be able to overcome that necessity to patrol the boundaries of participation and allow space for communities to take the next step, both in terms of question you and your own relevance, as well as take actions that might not be scripted by you, but scripted by the communities.
Robert, it's Sheila. I knew that you would know my voice anyway. They want me to give some reminiscences between our relationship while we were working together at IDS. I'm not sure you're going to like this, but it sure as hell amused me at the time. So we came in one Monday morning, and it took us at least an hour or so to find out who'd broken the window. Eventually we discovered it was you that had broken the window, And when challenged by me, you said, but I needed to get in. So I said, well, a key would have been a good idea. And you responded, but I'd forgotten to bring my key. How could you have argued with that?